Regarding listening to God's voice in little insignificant things that don't seem to matter and the importance of that. So I was telling a friend about how sometimes while I'm grocery shopping, say I'll have a thought pop into my mind, like as I'm getting tomatoes, for example, I have a thought pop into my mind, only get 3. And so maybe I grabbed 5, so I'll put a couple back or things like that. And the friend was like, that's ridiculous. Like, I don't want to, have that type of relationship with God where he's dictating every move and I need him to tell me how many tomatoes to get or whatever, things like that. And I think it's a way for us to practice hearing God's voice, to practice discerning what's him, what's not him. And I think it will be especially important to be able to do that where it actually could end up being a life and death situation, listening to his voice versus not. I've had several situations already where, it's not life and death, but, well, okay, there have been some like that. And actually he rescued me. Anyway, that's for another time. But I've had situations where he's warned me about some investment thing that I was in and I didn't obey and I ended up getting screwed. I didn't think that it was necessary to really do the thought that popped into my head. And so anyway, so listening to God in the little things can help us discern what his voice sounds like so that we can discern in the big things. So even with little things like how many tomatoes to get, I encourage you to involve God in that process. Or, oftentimes, to be honest, when I'm shopping, I don't specifically ask God, how many tomatoes should I get? But if I'm just going along and then I have a thought like that, I like to practice listening to it. Sometimes I don't, and then I learn obedience through suffering. But, and that's part of the process, right? So say I grabbed 5 tomatoes and 2 of them end up going bad. It's a small price to pay, and I learn like, oh, that actually was God's voice. Okay. But anyway, so just encourage you to involve God in your life in that way. If you hear thoughts pop into your head like that, embrace the opportunity to learn to discern what voice it is. And because I think actually it is very important. And could become life and death potentially at some point. We'll see what happens in our country. But okay, anyway, I would love to hear your stories also and your thoughts. So please comment below.